Hello everyone, I'm the Saxy Gamer, and today we're here for yet another first impressions video, taking a look at the first look for Babylon, which was just released a few minutes ago, maybe even, I don't even know, less than an hour definitely. So I will link this in the video description below if you want to watch it without my commentary, but if you haven't seen any of my first impression videos, this is going to be a very casual, we're not, this is not intended to be super formal or anything like that, just very casual first look at some of the stuff that they're showing, first impressions, and maybe some theories about how good Babylon is going to be. So without further ado, let's go ahead and stretch a 2-minute and 38-second video into a 10-minute video because that's what always happens. And let's go ahead and start looking at Babylon.
Hamurrabi leads Babylon in Sid Meier's Civilization 6. Best remembered.
So let me just also comment already. A lot of people had correctly guessed that Hamurrabi was going to be the leader of Babylon. I guess for a lot of people it wasn't really a guess because it was actually shown in the November patch information video that was released earlier this week because they accidentally forgot to get rid of the part that said that a relic was created by Hamurrabi, so they kind of spoiled it themselves. But Hamurrabi is our leader, which is pretty cool. I think that that's actually a fairly widely known leader of Babylon, so it's pretty cool to have him in here.
For documenting his lawful alignment in Hammurabi's code, the ancient ruler was also dedicated to building infrastructure and improving the lives of citizens through scientific innovation. Babylon's unique ability is called Enuma Anu Enlil. With this ability, eurekas provide all of the science needed for technologies, although it also decreases the science generated each turn.
So let's talk about that ability there. So with that ability, you get eurekas, or whenever you get eurekas, you will 100% fully research the tech that you get the eureka for, which is very interesting. It's kind of similar to China's ability, which gives them a little bit more science from eurekas, but you can see there they had been looking at mass production, which the eureka for that is to build a lumber mill. Put down the lumber mill, you get the tech 100%, but it does say that you do lose science per turn, and we will see just how much later on, because that is a quite big balancing thing, and whenever we get there, we'll stop and talk about it more, but I'm glad that they did actually put this science penalty on it, because otherwise this would be absolutely insanely broken, but it looks like they are actually doing a decent job of balancing it out. Eugene is crawling all over me. That's why you probably just heard, I don't know, who knows what it sounded like, but yeah, that's the old classic Eugene who just wants to learn about Hamurrabi as well. All right, let's go ahead and keep going here. Let me get back to the point where we were at, which was somewhere, let's just assume right here.
Increases the science generated each turn. Babylon's unique unit is an ancient-era melee unit called the Sabun Kibitum. It receives increased combat strength when facing heavy and light cavalry promotion units, and also offers additional movement and sight.
So this unique unit here, I think, is going to be a replacement for the swordsman. It doesn't explicitly say that it is. I guess it could be totally unique, but I wonder if we can look back. Whenever they had the tech tree up, did it show bronze working? I don't think they did.
Although
did
it also
No, they didn't show bronze working back there, so there wasn't really, or wait, did they show it back here? I'm trying to see if there's anywhere where we can see where bronze working is, but it doesn't look like it. So I was trying to find out if they showed that that is where it was, because it could be a totally unique unit as well, rather than a replacement for the spearman, but I would imagine it's probably a replacement for the spearman because, well, kind of looks like a spearman, fits in the same era as the spearman, fills a similar role to the spearman. Sounds kind of like a spearman to me, but it's going to get extra combat strength against cavalry units and also some additional movement and sight. So this sounds like it's going to be, I don't know, an okay unique unit. I don't think it's going to be all that good. It's not really going to stand out just because it's really only better against those heavy cavalry units, but we'll see. We can talk about more about the actual numbers once we get to that screen later on.
Movement and sight. Babylon's unique building is the Palgum. It replaces the watermill and provides additional housing and production. It also increases the food yield from freshwater tiles, but requires the city be adjacent to a river.
So this is an interesting building here, the Palgum, which is a replacement for the watermill. So normally from a watermill you get, one food, one production, and then one additional food on rice and stuff like that. So you're not getting the extra food on rice tiles or stuff like that, but I think the interesting thing is that freshwater tiles receive +1 food, which is going to be pretty strong. Obviously, you have to be settled adjacent to a river to build a watermill, so you're going to have at least a few freshwater tiles, so this could end up being fairly good if you have a lot of farms that are maybe along those rivers, or even just mines as well. That will improve your mine tiles, so I think that this has potential to be pretty decent. I like that it does give housing as well, just because anything that gives food, I like to give housing as well, just because you're obviously going to need housing if you actually want to grow your population up. And the +2 production is slightly more than standard, but it's obviously not that much more, so I think that's fine. I think the Palgoom is going to be decent. I don't know if it's going to be all that strong. I mean, it's not as good as some other tile improvements or unique districts or things like that, but I feel like it at least has potential to be moderately useful in games wherever you're settled on a lot of rivers.
Hamurrabi's ability, Ninu Ilu Serum, makes the construction of specialty districts even more special.
All right, so let's talk about this screen right now just because I see that we are here and we can take a look at the actual specifics behind all of his abilities here. So we'll talk about Ninu Ilu Serum in just a little bit, but the first one, Inuma and Inlil, makes it obviously, as we talked about, so that eurekas give all the science for technologies. You do lose 50% of your science per turn, though, which is a pretty big hit. Obviously, that is going to slow down significantly how fast you're able to research technologies, especially in the early game, which is, I feel like, where that will hurt the most before you're able to get campuses. But the thing is, if you're a very skilled player, then you're going to be able to get a lot of eurekas, so it's very much going to kind of cancel this out. And that's kind of the thing that I think about Babylon. I think Babylon is going to be very good for skilled players, but very bad for non-skilled players, because if you're not good at getting eurekas, you're going to have a terrible time on them because your science is just going to be absolutely abysmal. Hopefully this also means that the AI is going to be absolute garbage on him, because the AI obviously a lot of the time just relies on getting extra yields rather than, actually employing strategy. So I would imagine that they won't be that insane, at least not compared to something like, Korea or any of the other AI like that generally tend to be really ridiculous on deity. The Sabum Kabitum, also, or whatever this thing is called, gets 17 combat strength against heavy and light cavalry. So, assuming that this is the replacement for a swordsman, that would be 7 more than any of those, just because it is the anti-cav class. It also gets 3 movement and 3 sight, so that's just +1 of each. So, once again, this unit, I still kind of hold my opinion of it's not going to be that great, but it's going to be at least decent. Let's now go ahead and look at this ability, Ninu Ilu Serum, which you'll talk about just right now, but pretty much every time you build a specialty district, except for the government plaza, for the first time, you receive the lowest production cost building that can be currently constructed in that district. I think that this ability is not that great, because this is pretty much going to mean that you place down your first campus, you get a library. You place down your first commercial hub, you get 1 market. But you're only going to get those bonuses once, and Eugene has just minimized the thing because he's stepping on the keyboard as he loves to do. But the fact that you only get this one time means that it's going to be a nice kind of early game power spike sort of thing in a way, but after that, I think it's really going to dwindle off. And once you've already put down one of each type, then this ability literally does nothing for you. So I think that is, that's a little bit of a bummer. The fact that after a while you're going to have a totally dead ability, that makes this ability seem kind of bad to me. But let's go ahead and listen to them talk about it. Also, the one thing I want to mention here is that for this ability, there's obviously a lot of other ways that you can get eurekas to really abuse this, and they do talk about them in this first look, so let's go ahead and hear about them.
Special. When a specialty district is constructed for the first time, that district's lowest production cost building is included in the initial construction.
So one thing that I just thought about now is that since they put down, you can see they put down a holy site here, getting a free shrine will make it easier to get a religion when you're playing Babylon, so might not be a bad idea to go ahead and try to get some religions when you're playing Babylon, because that free shrine is going to make you get that additional great profit point per turn, which will make it a lot easier to get your religion, especially on something like deity.
For free. Additionally, constructing any other district for the first time grants a free envoy.
So you can see there they finished the diplomatic quarter and they got a free envoy from it. So that'll apply for things like, I would assume, neighborhoods, aqueducts, dams, the non-specialty districts. And probably the government plaza as well.
Babylon offers a highly strategic, science-fueled game focused on getting as many eurekas as possible. This playstyle rewards vigilance in pursuit of meeting boost conditions and maintaining a keen awareness of the tech tree. Great scientists are also key to victory because they grant Babylon a full rather than partial tech.
Yeah, so that point right there, that great scientists are going to be really good because you get the full tech rather than the partial tech from getting them. It's going to mean that having great scientist points is going to be really crucial. Getting, something like Divine Spark, I think, is going to be really good as well, just to get you more great scientist points. Because with a lot of free techs, you can really probably zoom straight ahead of a lot of other players. And that is an ability that scales in the late game as well, that later on you go, the science cost of techs goes up a lot, so you're effectively getting a lot more science whenever you're able to complete them.
Build the Great Library as soon as possible to ensure you still get a science boost whenever another Civ recruits a great scientist.
So that's another one, the Great Library. You get a Eureka anytime someone else recruits a great scientist, or yourself as well, I believe. So that as well will give you a lot more free tech. So see, there's a lot of synergies here that ends up working with Babylon that I feel like if you're able to abuse those synergies, this Civ is going to be insanely strong.
A robust spy network can also be useful, allowing you to steal other Civs' technologies. However, be wary of spies angering potential allies and preventing a Tier 2 science alliance, which can be especially beneficial to Babylon. Will you use science to illuminate the world or darken it with tyranny? How will you lead Babylon in Sid Meier's Civilization 6?
Alright, so that was the first look of Babylon. If I could give them, like a tier rating in my head right now, I'd probably say... I honestly don't know. I'm going to have to play around with them a bit just to see. The free techs are so good, in my opinion, but at least I think they're going to be really good, but maybe as I play with them, I'll find out that that's not quite the case, because they could be honestly anywhere from like D tier to A or S tier, just based on how impactful those free techs actually feel in a game, how easy it is to, consistently make use of that, because as you can see, there's a lot of ways to get eurekas from great scientists, great library, alliances, spies, all those things. If you're able to abuse those really well, I feel like this is going to be probably like an A, or probably not S tier, but probably A tier Civ. If you're not good at using those, though, I think that the rest of Babylon's kit really isn't all that good. Their unique unit just seems kind of meh. The unique watermill seems okay. I wouldn't put it in like top tier, though. And their first ability, I think, is kind of weak just because of the fact that once you've put down one of every district type, then you're going to get pretty much nothing from that ability, which really does suck. But yeah, let me know what you think of Babylon in the comments section below, whether you think they're going to be on a little bit of the weaker side, a little bit of the stronger side, or maybe, on the extremes of either of those sides. So thank you everyone for watching. I have been the Saxy Gamer. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you're looking for some more Civilization 6 content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.